All right, let's talk generics. My name's Greg, and you're watching How to Play Paintball. So again, a quick apology for, I know I can even hear the echo in this room. There's still some stuff that we had just moved in. I think we've been in the house now for about 2 or 3 weeks. So we're still in the process of unpacking stuff. Still, if you guys have moved, you know that. So I apologize again for the echo, but someone had actually asked me if I could go over kind of generic bunker names. And before you click out of here because you think, oh no, I already know generic bunker names and all that. This is also going to be a good video to show friends if they're going to be coming to a tournament. You're kind of explaining Dorito side, snake side, stuff like that, or certain bunkers, so that way they can kind of have an idea of what it is that they're actually going to be looking at. So a quick thank you before we get started. Thank you to AirUps. They actually said that I could use their images for the different bunker shapes, so I appreciate that. They've been a huge support of the channel, so thank you to AirUps. Just everyone over there is fantastic. So yeah, it's a great company, so go and support those that support the channel, but also just support them because, yeah, they're great to work with. So what I wanted to do was kind of go through each bunker and even on the layout, kind of what it would look like on like the overhead view, and then obviously the side view, it makes a little bit more sense. With overhead view, sometimes those little abbreviations can be a little bit confusing. So let's get started with the Doritos. So the Doritos kind of get their name because they're triangular in shape and they kind of look like a Dorito. Actually, Doritos did sponsor some of the bunkers for a little bit. I remember seeing the Doritos logo on there, so that was cool. But that name has just kind of come because it has that triangle, and yeah, so that's why it has that. Now over in Europe, if you're over there, they do nickname them tea bags because it kind of looks like a tea bag if you're holding it from the top. So if you hear that, they're kind of interchangeable. So there are mini or small Doritos, and then large Doritos, or sometimes they're called medium Doritos. There isn't necessarily a intermediate Dorito size, it's just that they're small or large. But on paper, when you actually see it, there'll be an SD, that's for small Dorito, and then MD for medium Dorito. And those are going to be your big and small Doritos. That's essentially what it is. So next, what I wanted to look at is the Aztecs. So the Aztecs, which on the layouts are going to be that T, they do call it a temple. So they're kind of interchangeable with that. I've always called them Aztecs. It's just what I've called them. I think every area kind of has little differences, but yeah, so whether it be a temple or an Aztec, those are the smaller ones that even I can look over the top of. Now the big brother of that one is the Maya temple, or what I call like a tower, or I just call them temples. So the temple is the big one, Aztec is the small one. But these are the ones that are kind of like that, and then they're flat across the top. So there are those two different sizes. On paper, again, the smaller one is going to have that T for temple, and then the big one, it says MT, so Maya temple. So that's how you know it needs to be the bigger one or the smaller one based on that. So the next one I want to look at can actually be placed anywhere on the field. Really, every bunker can be placed anywhere on the field, but these usually you're going to find more in the center. Although, again, they've been in other places, but these are the bricks, and these are the giant bricks. Now, the good thing with these is that they're modular, along with their cousins that are usually around there with them, which I'll get into in a second. But those big bricks look just like that. It looks like a big brick. It's a big rectangular prism. So it's a big rectangle that is can be placed up like this, or it can be placed down on its side, and that just gives it that modular ability, so that way you can have different types of centers or different types of positioning of that bunker on the field, just to kind of change it up a little bit. So the next one I want to talk about is basically the cousin to the giant brick, and that is the wing. Now you could call these wedges as well. I feel like they're kind of interchangeable. But basically it's the same brick, but at the end, instead of being flat all the way across, it kind of drops down. So the other one that I wanted to talk about was the cakes, and the cakes are, there's two versions. There's a small cake and a tall cake. On paper, when you see it from the NXL or from a league, there's just going to be CK for the small cake, so just cake, and then the tall cake is TCK, which is easy enough. And there is no in-between size for these. It's just a small version and a tall version. And yeah, it looks like a slice of cake essentially. Like if you cut it down, it has a kind of triangular top part, and then it just kind of stands up on its own. Another one that you are going to see on the field is the brick, and this is the small brick, so it's just going to be BR on the layout, and these used to be smaller versions of the W. It's like a little mini W, but now they call them bricks, so you might hear it mini W, you might hear brick, but basically it's a small version, and there's like a little nub at the top, because it used to be that there was a W, and that little nub in the top kind of was like the middle part of the W, but now there isn't that W, it's just, you know, 2 panels, and then they have the outside of it and all of that stuff. You'd have to go over to AirUps and see exactly how they make the bunkers, but yeah, so they are a smaller version of the giant brick, with that extra little piece at the top. Another one that you're going to see is just the beam. Usually with the beam, and it's just a very long rectangular prism. It's very short. It's not too tall. Maybe I think it's like 1.5 feet tall, something like that. So you have to stay real low. Usually you're going to see these in the snake, on the snake side of the field. And the snake is just that side of the field that is opposite of the Dorito side. So the Dorito side, usually all the Doritos are over there, a majority are over there. And then you have your snake side, which is the one that you usually have to be crawling to get up the field. So it actually used to be a giant snake. It was like an inflatable snake. And then it just kind of, or people used to call it zippers, because it kind of had like the little things, and yeah. But I guess snake has just stuck. So that is the one that you're going to see a lot of the beams with in particular. That being said, you're probably not going to see them just be like in the middle of the field. But yeah, it's going to be usually connected with other bunkers, and as a way of progressing down the field where you just have to crawl to get to the next spot. Okay, last but not least are actually the bunkers that I really don't like all that much, and that is the can and the pin. Now, they do call them different things on the layout. So on the layout, if you see that C, it's cylinder, and that's how you'll know that it's the larger can. And then the pin is just a smaller version of that can. On the layout, they call them trees. They're just little tiny little things, and it's basically just like a small, think of it like a little mini Pepsi can, and then there's a big Pepsi can for the larger one. But the smaller ones are usually more used for like lane blockers and stuff like that. The cans most people will play, or actually those are the ones that you're usually going to play over the pin. But there is a way of being able to play the pin. It's just difficult because it's just such a small bunker. But that being said, if you hear someone say pin or tree, they're talking about the smaller one. And if you hear can, then that, or cylinder, something like that, that's going to be the larger one on the field. So something else that you might hear for kind of generic terms is like Dorito 1, Dorito 2, Dorito 3, Snake 1, 2, 3. Usually what it is that Dorito 1 is going to be the first Dorito on the back line of the other team's side of the field. So it comes towards you, you're counting. So Dorito 1, 2, 3, 4. They might kind of zigzag a little bit, but usually that's how it's going to be. And for the snake, it's the same thing. Snake 1 is going to be the first snake. It might be a cake or a brick or something like that, but there's going to be that beam there. It's going to be the first in that set of that particular layout for the snake side. It's hard to say because they do change it up a little bit, but that snake side, the first bunker in there, that will be snake 1, and then as it gets closer to the other side of the field, the opposing side, it increases. So snake 1, 2, 3 might go to snake 4, 5, whatever. It depends on how many bunkers they put in there. But for both of them, if you hear 50 snake or 50 Dorito, that literally just means right in the center. So guys, I hope that this is something that helps you all out. I hope that this is something that helps out even friends. So if you're watching this because you have no clue that your boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife or cousin or friend or whoever it is that you're going to go watch play paintball for the first time, competitive paintball that is, first of all, thanks for watching. You should go play too, but I hope that this is something that helps you all out with understanding a little bit more about what each of those bunkers is called. And a lot of the times it's just what it looks like. That's what the easiest way of describing it is, are kind of the generic ones. So these are the generic names of the bunkers. I hope that it does help you guys out, and yeah, go have fun. I mean, it's something that you're not going to be able to get it right away. It's kind of like the first time that you might watch, football or soccer or hockey or whatever for the first time. You don't really understand. As you keep watching it, you will be able to understand it. It's going to seem like a lot's going on all at once, but you'll be able to get it as things go along. But I hope that this is something that at least gets you in the right direction. But thank you again to AirUps. But as always, remember, watch, learn, win. Thanks.